And for all these years, he's always heard about Herbalife. He's always heard that we're incredible. He's always heard that we're fantastic. And this is the first time he's ever been to Extravaganza. After 11 years, we've known this guy, right? And he just could not believe it. He was just absolutely 100% blown away. And it's always that way for everybody. Everybody who thinks it's crazy, everybody who thinks that it's just a joke, there's a couple of things that really get them excited. The first one is always what? Getting them on the products, okay? Now, we could never get this guy onto the products. I guarantee you after the last couple of days, he's definitely on the products, okay, from seeing all the people that are out here. Now, I don't have any idea if he's ever going to do the business or not, okay, but there's a high likelihood that he's going to, okay, after seeing what he's been down here. And it's just, you keep telling the story, you keep getting people on the product, and you do the best you can. I don't have all the magical answers, gang. I don't, okay? I do know this. The first thing you got to do is you got to work on your attitude. People make fun of you, who cares, okay? Somebody says it's not the right thing, hey, you got to know it's the right thing in your heart. And you can only know that by using the products and getting people on the products and having them make comments back to you on how incredible this is. The only way you're going to know that is by being active and starting to make some money yourself and get someone else who starts making some money, and they come to you and say, you know something, I hated my job at IBM and this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Thank you so much. You got to know that in your heart, gang. And you've got to convince yourself. You got to work on yourself every single day. And if you'll get up every morning and you'll work on your own self, because that's your biggest job in Herbalife, okay? You can conquer anything in your life if you want to, if you just keep working on yourself. There's going to be things that happen to you all day long that try to get you sidetracked. There's going to be people that tell you no, and you're going to get sidetracked. But you got one or two choices when you get sidetracked. You can either say, oh, poor, miserable me. Why does it always have to happen to me? And you can keep whining, and you can keep complaining, and you can keep being miserable, or you can say, I'm going to make the best out of it I possibly can, and go back and talk with more enthusiasm to the next person, just like you did. You know how enthusiastic you are when you make 10 sales? It's easy to be excited then, right? Here's when you got real leadership, is when 10 people have said no, and you don't feel good, and 5 of your people have dropped out on you, okay? And someone's making fun of you, and things aren't going right, and 2 straight weeks you've worked till midnight every single night, and the whole thing's falling apart on you. When you can pitch and get your attitude, and I gotta say this one, and you faking it till you make it, by acting maybe mentally that it's going to happen, by acting like your best presentation is going to happen, like you just made 10 sales. That's when you got some true leadership, okay? There's been some real serious times in Herbalife for me when I felt like saying, hey, that's the end of the deal, okay? Why would it be worth it for me to keep doing this, okay? There's been plenty of times for me like that in Herbalife, okay? When I had my very first meeting and I had the baggie full of powder and I was telling my best friends, and let me tell you something, these guys definitely hurt my feelings. They had been in 2 companies with me that had gone under. They knew I was serious about weight loss. They knew that's all I wanted to do because of what happened to my mom. And when I came to them, I was legitimately asking for their help. I said, listen, you guys, no kidding, man. These other companies went out on us, but we're going to do this thing, and it's going to happen, and it's going to be the most incredible thing that ever happened to us, okay? And those guys were all flakes, and they said, hey, look it, this is a joke. Nothing's going to happen. You don't think that those guys didn't hurt my feelings? And I didn't think to myself, my goodness, who am I going to go to now after everybody I was counting on to get me started just said that this is a miserable joke? You don't think the next morning I had to wake up and say, my goodness, now what am I going to do? Well, I'll tell you what I did. I started passing out flyers, and I started calling people up out of the telephone book. I started going into the newspapers, and nobody told me this stuff. I just was desperate. I said, I'm going to make it no matter what. And I got the telephone book out, and I started calling people out of the telephone book, and I made up little excuses to talk to them, okay? And then I would call people right out of the newspapers that needed jobs, and I'd say, listen, you know, I'd call Joe in there. He says he was a gardener. I said, Joe, I understand you're looking for a gardening job. He said, yes, I am. I said, listen, Joe, I don't need anybody to mow my lawn. How would you like to make an extra $2,000 a month over and above your present income? Would you be interested in taking a look at it? He said, yeah, I would. I said, listen, there's a meeting tonight. Come on down. I set up a little stand on the corner on Robertson Boulevard. Cost me about $10, this little stand. And I was actually selling little Dixie cup milkshakes out on the street corner for 50 cents at a time just to get people to try my product back then. Okay? Here's what you do when it's disappointing. Here's what you do when it doesn't look like it's going to work. Here's what you do. You do what it takes. That's what you do. See, I didn't start with a $50 distributor kit with the attitude, I wonder if this is going to work. I hope it's going to happen. No way. My entire life was dependent on whether it was going to work for me in Herbalife. And regardless of what my relatives said, or what my friends said, or what the circumstances were, by golly, I was going to make it, period. And when you got that kind of attitude, there's nobody that can get you down. There's nothing that can get in your way. And let me tell you what people want that are around you. They want leadership. They want someone who knows that they're going to make it. They want someone who says, by golly, I'm going to make it no matter what. Do you want in or do you want out? And I'll tell you what, pretty soon there was 3 or 4 people following me. And pretty soon there was 6 and 7 people following me. And pretty soon there was 20 people following me. And my goodness, after this last couple of days, look at what's happening. And let me tell you something. Couple, 2 or 3 years from now, we're not going to be able to have enough stadiums in the United States to hold people to make this thing go. I hope one of these days when we have our extravaganzas, we have to hook it up on satellite. Every single convention center, not country by country, state by state. Region by region, okay? All over the place this is going to happen. And you know, everybody always says, well, geez, nothing like that could really happen. Some of you were back around in the old days, right? Came to this thing and said, my goodness, what an unbelievable thing that's happening to us here. And all you got to do is keep doing it. Your success, where you go in life, is only limited to your own imagination and your own hard work. No wonder I'm stuck where I'm at right now in life, because I only got this big of imagination. Hey, but in the future, it's going to even be bigger. And in the future from that, it's going to keep getting bigger. And you know what? This is not a joke, gang. And some of the reasons why I'm telling you this is don't let yourself be in the same circumstances that happened to some of those people that sat in those first meetings with me, who missed it then, and they're missing it now, and they're going to miss it a year from now if they don't take some action. Take the things that you've been learning from this week and take it and put it into action. Don't think about everything. Don't worry if everything's perfect. You don't need everything perfect. Let me tell you how you get perfect. Do it 1,000 times. Do it 10,000 times. No, but I didn't know if everything was going to work in Herbalife. I knew one thing: if I put it out 1,000 times, I'd find out. Everything's not going to be perfect to you, gang. You're not going to get from where you are right now at World Team to Millionaire Team without making, I want you to write this down, a lot of mistakes. And you're not going to get to a Millionaire Team without a lot of problems. Listen, it's an impossibility to get to Millionaire Team without having lots of problems. And trust me, you'll have more problems getting to Millionaire Team than you did getting to the World Team. And you're going to have more problems than that from where you are from the Millionaire Team to the President's Team. And you're going to have even more problems than that when you get to the Chairman's Club. And if you're lucky enough in life to end up finally being like me, you'll be in a fortunate circumstance to have a real bummer like last night. Because that's the way it is.